He only did the right thing, drove his boss home when she was too drunk to stand. But the next morning, when she came downstairs wearing clothes that weren't hers, one phone call changed everything. For a black man, a single father, there's no room for misunderstanding. One wrong word from her could cost him his job, his reputation, his daughter. So what did she do that morning? And why did it almost destroy his life? Before we continue, let us know where you're watching from in the comments. And if you enjoy stories like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We love seeing how far these stories travel. Harry Thompson checked his watch for the third time in 10 minutes. 6:45. The company's annual party was in full swing around him, laughter and clinking glasses filling the upscale restaurant, but his mind was 15 miles away at Jefferson Elementary School, where his daughter Ella would take the stage in just over an hour. She had reminded him every single day for the past 2 weeks. "Daddy, you have to sit in the front row, promise me." And he had promised, the way he always did, because keeping promises to his little girl was the one thing in this world he refused to compromise on. For 6 years, Harry had built his reputation at Harrison Financial brick by brick. Senior analyst, impeccable record, never late, never absent, never the subject of office gossip. He understood something that his white colleagues never had to think about, that for a black man in corporate America there was no margin for error. One misstep, one misunderstanding, one moment of poor judgment, and everything he had worked for could vanish overnight. So he kept his head down, did his job, went home to his daughter, and stayed invisible in all the ways that mattered. Tonight was supposed to be simple. Show his face at the party for exactly 1 hour, shake the right hands, then slip out in time for Ella's performance. But as Harry scanned the room for an exit route, his eyes landed on something that made his stomach tighten. Kara Carter was drunk. Not tipsy, not a little loose from champagne. Drunk in a way that made people look away, the kind of drunk that would become office gossip by Monday morning. Kara was his direct supervisor, the director of their department, and until tonight, Harry had never seen her as anything other than perfectly composed, sharp suits, sharper decisions. The kind of woman who commanded respect without raising her voice. But something had changed in the past few weeks. The divorce, people whispered. 15 years of marriage ended because her husband had been sleeping with a 26-year-old marketing coordinator from his firm. Harry watched as Kara reached for another glass of wine, her movements unsteady, her eyes glazed and unfocused. A few of their colleagues glanced her way, then quickly found somewhere else to look. No one wanted to be the person who dealt with the boss when she was falling apart. 6:52. He needed to leave now if he was going to make it. Harry grabbed his coat from the back of his chair and started toward the exit. He was 3 steps from the door when he heard the crash. Kara had knocked over her purse, its contents scattering across the polished floor. She dropped to her knees to gather them, and Harry could see her hands shaking as she fumbled with lipstick tubes and scattered receipts. When she tried to stand, she stumbled and nearly fell. A waiter rushed over, asked if she needed help. Kara waved him away with a slurred, "I'm fine," that convinced no one. Harry stood frozen at the door, his car keys already in his hand. This wasn't his problem. Kara was a grown woman, his boss, someone with more power and resources than he would ever have. She could call a cab. She could ask someone else. She could figure it out. But as he watched her struggle to her feet, he saw something that made his chest ache. She was searching through her purse with increasing desperation, pulling out her wallet, her compact mirror, a pack of tissues. Her phone screen was cracked and dark. Dead battery. And from the way she kept digging through the same pockets over and over, it was clear she couldn't find what she was looking for. Her keys. Harry glanced around the room. The other executives had conveniently migrated to the far corner of the restaurant. The junior staff were pretending to be deep in conversation. No one was going to help her. He thought about Ella waiting backstage in her costume, searching the audience for his face. He thought about what it would mean if he left Kara here, a woman too drunk to stand, without her phone, without her keys, without anyone willing to take responsibility for her. And he thought about what it would mean if he stayed. A black man, a subordinate, taking his drunk white female boss somewhere private. Every instinct he had developed over 38 years of navigating a world that was quick to judge and slow to forgive screamed at him to walk away. This was exactly the kind of situation he had spent his entire life avoiding, the kind where intentions didn't matter, where the optics could destroy you before the truth ever had a chance. But Harry also thought about his daughter and the kind of man he wanted her to believe he was. He walked back to where Kara was still swaying on her feet. "Ms. Carter," he kept his voice low, professional. "Do you have someone I can call to pick you up?" She looked at him with glassy eyes, struggling to focus. "Harry, why are you still here?" "Do you have someone I can call?" he repeated. "Family? A friend?" Kara shook her head slowly, then winced at the movement. "No one here. She's in Boston. My phone is dead." "What about your address? I can call you a cab." She stared at him blankly, then laughed, a hollow, bitter sound. "I just moved, last week. I can't remember the new address. It's in my phone, which is dead." Another laugh, this one closer to a sob. "God, I'm pathetic." Harry felt the weight of his car keys in his pocket. 7:03. Ella would be going on at 8. He could leave. No one would blame him. No one would even know. But he would know. "Okay," he said quietly, more to himself than to her. "Okay." He pulled out his own phone and dialed a number he knew by heart. Angela, the woman who watched Ella after school, picked up on the second ring. "Angela, I need a huge favor. Can you take Ella to her performance tonight? Something came up at work and I can't make it." The silence on the other end lasted only a second, but it felt like an eternity. "Of course, Harry, but she's going to be disappointed." "I know." His voice cracked on the words. "Just tell her I love her. Tell her I'll watch the video 100 times. Tell her I'm sorry." He ended the call and turned back to Kara, who was now leaning heavily against a table. "Come on," he said, taking her arm to steady her. "I'm going to take you somewhere safe." She didn't resist as he guided her toward the door, her heels clicking unevenly on the marble floor. "Where are we going?" she mumbled. Harry didn't answer. The truth was, he only had one option. Her phone was dead, she didn't know her own address, and he couldn't leave her alone in a hotel room in this condition. He was going to take her to the only place he could keep an eye on her until she sobered up, his home. The drive took 20 minutes, and Kara drifted in and out of consciousness in the passenger seat. Halfway there, she suddenly grabbed his arm. "Stop the car," she gasped. "I'm going to be sick." Harry pulled over to the side of the road just in time. Kara stumbled out and vomited onto the grass, her body heaving while she gripped the car door for support. Harry found a bottle of water in the back seat and handed it to her when she was done. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice raw. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." He helped her back into the car and kept driving. When he pulled into his driveway, the house was dark. Angela must have already left with Ella. The realization hit him like a physical blow.